Professor Schwartz, 200 years after the birth of Karl Marx, 170 years after the publication of the Communist Manifesto, Marx seems to be still an intellectually respectable personality. How would you see his place in the history of thoughts?
It seems that Marx still is with us, despite the fact that he got his understanding of the capitalist system wrong, and that his predictions haven't panned out at all, and that where his system more or less has been applied, there's a huge mountain of dead people. And despite that, people still think about him and so on. And for me, it's a bit of a mystery. But, well, we'll have to bear and not listen to him. I hope that people will one day forget about him.
What do you think, in what consists his popularity? Is this, the idea that the capitalist society as such is unjust, that there is not enough equality in the society? Are those the reasons that make him still attractive?
Well, that's one, that he is in favor of much more equality, and when he looks at the capitalist system or the market system, the effect of this system is to give to some people much more money than to others. And as we can see, there are very big millionaires because they've invented something, our telephones and internet and whatnot, and they have made lots of money. Now, if you prefer to have people more equal, and you have, if I may say so, an envious disposition, then you don't like other people being better off than yourself, even if they make you better off. So I think there's a very strong inclination in human society in saying, I don't want somebody to be better off than me, and I don't want the poor to come into my house. So you have the two things. You want to defend yourself against the competition of other countries that were poor and now are richer, and you also don't want people to be so rich. Sometimes they don't mind if it's an artist, I mean if it's an actor or actress, especially if she's beautiful, and they don't mind either that a footballer makes huge amounts of money. But they do mind when they don't understand why bankers get rich. Many people don't understand the role of the financial system and of bankers, and therefore it's easier for them to complain. And another motive is that he saw that there could be another system different from the capitalist system which would work better, and we would be happy. He sort of calls paradise, and that makes people listen up if they are unhappy.
My impression is that the attractivity of Marx is much less to perceive among simple people and much more among intellectuals. Why?
Well, a good intellectual hates capitalism. And Hayek had something to say to that, saying, of course, if you're an intellectual, you don't know very much of anything. You have general ideas, and you think that you should be in power, or at least that the people who are powerful should listen to you. Now, they don't. And so you have a group of people, and he made it very clear, a group of people who think they should be much more powerful and in government, and people don't listen to them. Especially so in Great Britain and in the US, the tradition is not the same as in France, where the intellectual is a sort of miracle that you should listen to. No, it isn't that way. So I think it's built in the university formation, university studies of the intellectuals, that they think they understand everything and nobody's listening to them. And especially, it's very difficult to accept the capitalist system. Difficult to accept because people don't like, as they say, the money motive. They believe that society, or people in society, are a better nature. They don't look at themselves, because they're envious, but they do look around themselves and they say, look, this competition is terrible, and the division of labor is terrible. That's something that Marx said from the very beginning in his Communist Manifesto, and then later. His ideal society was one where you didn't have competition, but cooperation, as he says, and also it was a place with not only no competition, but also you had no division of labor. Indeed, Marx was a man of many parts, and he wrote articles, and he wrote economics and so on, so he felt he was a kind of genius. But he specialized like anything, but he thought that we would be happier if we didn't specialize. There's a famous phrase where he says, I want to be a fisherman in the morning and rear cattle in the afternoon, and then sit down and criticize novels and so on, and then this would be a happy life. And he didn't understand that competition is first a defense of ordinary people against power, because you can always look at other people and ask for the goods they propose. And secondly, it isn't competition also is a form of cooperation. I think Marx and other people haven't felt competition, haven't used in the market in competition. In my life I have, and it was always, we say, competition makes friends. Because you look at the other one, they tell you, look, I'm doing this and you are worse, oh, I'm going to be better. And so you have competition in everything, especially in politics, and especially left-wing politics, where not only did you try and push your adversary out, but if possible you shot him in the morning.
Would you recommend students to read the Communist Manifesto?
Yes, I would. With a good commentary and to point out the things that he said there, he and Engels, but that he mainly said there. Yes, because what he does is to explain that the bourgeoisie, or the bourgeois, the capitalist people, had transformed society and therefore made us richer and better off. And that is something that many people who are against the capitalist system don't understand, that this capitalist system about which we complain so much has made us live many more years and be better off and have houses and cars and all the things that we have, that people who are, I could say, feel aristocratic say, oh, the masses have too many things. But still, it's a good thing to explain what he thought about the capitalist system. There's one thing which I find that Marx thought and was a big mistake. He thought that the actors of the economic world were whole societies, whole classes, not people. It wasn't people who've invented or used the internet or who bettered our telephones. No, it's the whole of the capitalist class that somehow is making our lives better. So he thought that the productivity of the capitalist system was so good that one could leave it alone. They would go on and producing goods. Meanwhile, we could rear cattle in the morning and be fishermen in the afternoon and so on. So he didn't understand why capitalism or the market system had made us so much better off than we do. And the position I take and the position that other people take is that it's mentality that changes the world in which we live. It's the ideas of single people who do that, especially coming from Spain, as I am, a Spaniard. Spain for a time was the greatest power in the world, and the sun didn't set on its empire. We went from the Philippines to India, around the world and so on. So it was, and why did Spain fail? Because making money was not right. It was a matter for the Jews. They lent you at interest, and they were clever. Why did they become so powerful, and why did they lend to the kings, who then didn't do the right thing with the money? So the idea is that in some places you didn't have the right mentality to start growing as we have. For example, in some places that mentality was snuffed out. In the republics of the Renaissance in Italy, they were merchant republics, and then the French and the Spanish wanted to take over Italy, because why do they have so much money? How do they make all this? If I take them, then I'll be rich. And I have the mines in Latin America. So it's the wrong idea, the idea that the way to be rich is for something to fall down from heaven. But then you had a place like the Netherlands, who were able to fight the power of Spain and win over the power of Spain, which wanted to catch the Netherlands, and the same with Britain. Sometimes when I speak to my students, I say, I think it's a benediction that the Armada was defeated. Can you imagine Britain governed by the Inquisition? That would have been a big catastrophe. So it's the idea that it's all right to make money. If you're honest, it's all right to make money. And you don't understand, people don't understand how somebody else makes money. I don't understand. I'm a university professor and therefore not very rich, but I don't mind, I'm not envious.
Shall we ever get rid of Marx? He's always there for some curious reason. His predictions were wrong. The mechanism he described of a capitalist system is not the right one. And despite that, people still quote him, and people use his method, as they say.